Hello, my friends. Is Robert Kubica here? I'm pleased to say that I'm almost better and will be able to take part in F1 2012. I have enjoyed my downtime indulging in my hobbies, such as maintaining my collection of antique bear traps. Look, here they are.
Ah! Not again! Hello, welcome to Gareth Jones on Speed, the only podcast that's about F1 that is so over F1. I'm Gareth Jones and I'm so over F1. With me is Zog. Are you so over F1?
I'm pretty over F1 for the moment.
And Richard, are you so over F1?
Yeah.
You are then, aren't you? Yeah. We're just lying to ourselves here because it's that period now where, we've always had to cope with 4 months of no F1. And then we have this extended hiatus where if we're not going to pay to watch F1 next year, we've got to wait till China before the season starts live. Unless we go to one of these websites which allow you to watch premium TV channels for free, which apparently exist, and I couldn't possibly direct you to them.
No, that would be naughty.
Yeah.
And you would be depriving the Sky Television network of whatever they're going to charge.
Wouldn't want to do that.
I think it's going to be £10 a month, is that what they're saying?
Is that what they're saying?
And they're setting up a dedicated F1 channel.
Is it part of the regular sort of sports package, or some of the sports
packages? Yeah, I think if you've bought the sport package, then you get it already.
But if you don't have the sports package, then it's £10 a month.
Yeah, the sport package on Sky TV, if you've decided to put the sport package on your BMW 5 Series, you won't automatically be able to watch the F1 on it.
Yeah.
It's easy just to see where the confusion could arise.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think they're doing a dedicated thing. They've realised a lot of F1 fans don't give a flying monkeys about football and things like that.
Yeah. Me, for example.
Yeah, me too. And
me
they don't want to buy a load of sports they're not going to watch. And so apparently, yes, they're doing a dedicated channel. And I think the story was it's going to be £10 a month. But apart from that, I don't know any more. I don't know whether I'm going to bother.
It's hard, isn't it? Well,
it is tricky because I'm reluctant, but maybe we should kind of club together.
Well, that's the thing. But then we'd have to sign a contract between the three of us to make sure that we were all there to get our value to watch the races. Or we signed a contract. We said, okay, we'll be there for 60% of the races each, or something. Otherwise, it's going to. Sorry, guys,
it's going to get complicated.
Yeah, it's tricky.
Speaking of going to 60% of the races, I was wondering if the BBC would sort of rock it old school by doing their highlight stuff from London in the way that, remember Murray Walker and James Hunt, some of the races
well,
were far away.
I'm not actually there,
no,
but
they're just sitting in a room in TV Centre doing it to the pictures that we were watching.
Yeah, that would cut the budget. It struck me watching the Brazilian race at the end of the season. I suppose I was kind of reflecting a bit more on some of the things that, one would miss in the coverage next year. And actually, I'm going to miss Ted Kravitz if he's not doing his rather excellent but sort of slightly low-key pit lane reporting.
Yeah, he's good at that, isn't he?
Yeah, he's good. And I noticed at one point, to a pedant like me, the fact that he corrected himself in the middle of one sentence and said, fewer blisters
rather than less blisters. I heard that.
Yes, mental round of applause.
Well, Ted's going to Sky, I understand. Lumsden Bumhat of Sky, which would be to Sky's benefit, in my opinion. Not confirmed, but whiffling through the ether to me, it has been suggested that Lumsden Bumhat will be of Sky.
Brundle's confirmed, but we're not.
Brundle's definitely going to Sky.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to the Autosport Awards on Sunday. Ooh, get me! And last year I went to them as well, and at the drinks reception beforehand I was standing there like a bit of a divvy, not really knowing anyone, or rather recognising almost everyone in the room and being too scared to go and speak to them, when none other than Ted Kravitz sidled up to me and went, "Hello, you're Richard. I'm Lumsden Bumhat."
Yeah!
For which I have massive respect for him. Because I made up a stupid name that's not his real name, and a mutual friend had pointed me out to him, and he had taken upon himself to sidle over. We had a lovely chat, and he seems like a very nice guy. So if I see him on Sunday, I guess, like everyone else in the room, I can ask him what he's doing.
Yeah.
And then
get the story.
I don't
get
know.
the story for us.
You forget, Richie, because you don't come to the Johnny Herbert karting challenge thing. Ted has been on our team, driving for Gareth Jones on Speed.
Yeah, he's a nice man, isn't he?
He's a
like a very nice
bloke. Yeah, very realistic. I love him to bits.
As opposed to
realistic.
Really badly animated. What an unrealistic man he is. No, he's got green skin and 5 arms. How unrealistic. No one's like that in real life. You're right, I was struck by his realism. You couldn't see the join when I met him. Should we just cut it there and do a sketch?
Oh, that's right, Martin, and I think we've got news on that subject right now from the pit lane. Here's Ted Kravitz.
Thanks, David. Yes, one of my tentacles got jammed in the wheel go, and then I sprouted antlers and started grunting like some kind of camel, and then my eyes started firing lasers at the moon and stuff.
Thanks, Ted. Very unrealistic there.
Sniff Petrol! We got a Joe on speed!
I suppose we should look at how the teams performed over this last season. Should we start at the top and work our way to the bottom? Shall we?
Well, I was just going to pick the gold star for good attendance and take you... Well, what's the opposite of a gold star? Brown star.
Yeah, black mark.
Sounds
Maybe,
quite rude. Yeah, black mark,
black
that's
mark,
it.
there you go.
Brown star is something entirely
black mark in the attendance register for you.
Yeah.
Well, I mean...
a brown star's a brown dwarf, isn't it? It's a sort of a brown dwarf. It's not quite a neutron star.
Yeah, brown dwarf is a star that's exhausted fuel, but doesn't... But it's too small to collapse into a more energetic... or a white dwarf.
Yeah.
In terms of attendance, though, it's quite good. I believe that all the teams turned up to all the races.
Well done. Which didn't happen a few years ago, actually. So, to be fair to Max Mosley, he was right to push through that idea of the finance capping, of the staffing controls and the Cosworth engines, which has allowed 3 new teams to arrive and bed in and sustain in Formula 1, because previously, when there was no cost capping, we had the death of Arrows, the death of Jordan, the death of Minardi. We lost others along the way as well. I can't remember at the moment who, but...
I mean, it's tricky, because, you want to see the new teams come in and have a bit of success and do well, and they're still kind of bumping along the bottom, really. But then again, the black mark of the season has to go to Williams, really, for, you know, how far have they slipped down? They're...
And you're saying this is a Williams fan?
Yeah, well, I've always been a Williams fan.
I'll do this in reverse order. Actually, sort of all joint 10th, if you like, but they've ranked it. Virgin, HRT, Lotus, all nil point.
And I'll tell you what, hang on a second, can we come to the others in a moment? Just want to say, Virgin, that was a disaster, wasn't it? They've not got off the bottom, really, have they? And they're gone. That's it. No more Virgin next year. It's Marussia. Apparently Marussia will still do business with Virgin companies, in inverted commas. That's what they're saying. So the whole Virgin racing weekend at Silverstone will still happen, probably, I would hope, because I think it's the best thing about the Virgin team. Absolutely.
Well, they're a good bunch. You can't, you've got to credit them for that. But in terms of results, no, they haven't managed to pull themselves up by those bootstraps from where they started 2 years ago.
I mean, basically, they get a few marks for seeming like a nice bunch of people, but as a racing team, they must try harder.
I say, why did HRT sign Pedro de la Rosa?
Because they're idiots.
Well, the answer I was going to give was, I've no idea. Why? Why are they so...
They wanted someone who's very good at falling in a river during a race. Anyway, going back to this, so from 12th, 11th and 10th, Virgin, HLC and Lotus, but then in 9th, the first of the point-scoring teams with 5 whole points... Williams.
Can I just do this as though it were like a private school headmaster talking to a private school pupil called Williams? Because I always think they're like the private school team. Williams, come here, boy. Let's look at your tally. What's your point score, Williams? Tell me.
5, sir.
It's just bizarre, isn't it? And it's somehow hard to imagine that McLaren, or Red Bull for that matter, would have such a fall from grace. That Williams were a World Championship winning team.
Yeah, they're one of the very few teams, one of the handful of teams who had the in-house knowledge and the in-house memory of how to win a championship. Yeah. And to have come that far down is...
Happened before, Lotus,
very sad.
Tyrrell, comparable types of teams.
Yeah, Tyrrell was always a smaller organisation though, whereas Williams was surely a bigger, more established concern when it had its winning period. Whereas Tyrrell, I think, was winning in a period where there was less inertia, in the organisations and in the way they would.
And you could be someone like Hesketh, who were not a big corporate team. But then, with a combination of luck and a lot of champagne and a brilliant, raw, talented driver,
and Teddy
could
Bears.
do very well. But Williams in a different era, like you say. They're a big corporate organisation with a lot of money. I mean, probably not so much now.
They put on track one of the most advanced F1 cars ever made in the FW14B.
20 years ago?
Yeah, but there you go. It was 20 years ago. You know, that was a long time ago.
And I don't know what it means for Williams next year, but read this week, Patrick Head is gone from the F1 team. He's not leaving Williams. He's going to Williams Hybrid, where they're working on hybrid technologies, including the engines for that Jaguar concept whose name has just completely
The
escaped me.
CX-75
That's the one,
4LJ.
yes.
Where did they get that name from?
I don't know. You know the CX-16, that little coupe concept thing, which is actually going to be a production car, and they showed it at the LA show last week in white, and it looked amazing. It looked better than it did in silver at Frankfurt. And that is called the CX-16 because it's the 16th car that Ian Callum has overseen the design for at Jaguar.
Really? And the 75 is a
75th anniversary of Jaguar, yeah.
Mm.
But the 16 thing, they realised belatedly they didn't want to publicise that fact. Oh, I just said it now. Because some of those 16 projects didn't necessarily go into production, and so it sort of didn't make sense. And if you sit down and try and work it out, you can't, because there's things you don't know about unless you are Ian Callum or on his team, I guess. But yeah, so I don't know. Williams, Patrick Head has always been, along with Frank Williams, the bedrock of that team, for better or worse. And now he's not left the building, but he's not going to be there at the races and doing all that. He's busy himself with other matters.
Yeah, and it's not as if they've got huge sponsorship coming in and they've got an obvious replacement for Patrick Head. You know, where are they going from here?
Well, they have just brought in an entire new technical team, which is why Patrick is able to go. But the best possible news for Williams is that next year they're getting rid of those Cosworth engines, which are fine. But they're using
fine
Renault.
Doesn't win your race.
Exactly. They're using Renault engines, which apparently can win more championships than any other engine in Formula One, I think, apart from Ferrari, I believe. I think they've got a fantastic record, Renault. And there'll be a Renault in the Williams next year.
Well, and they have and Renault, of course, have a particularly good record in respect of turbo engines, and that's where we're going
in a couple of years.
Future, so maybe that's a good thing for them.
So enter Renault, exit Patrick Head.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Williams F1. Here to make a short statement is Mr. Patrick Head.
Bloody hell! Right, I'm leaving. But I'm not leaving. I'm just going over there, behind that door. Bye then. Bloody hell! The bloody door's jammed. Who designed this door? I'm gonna punch them. It was me. Ow! I've just punched myself. Bloody hell!
Ladies and gentlemen, please make your way slowly to the exits.
Who's shouting? Tell that man to stop shouting! Oh God, it's me!
Please
Bloody
don't
hell.
look directly
What's
at
that
him.
Smell?
Thank you.
It's my aftershave. I hate it. I'm going to peel it off my face. Bloody hell! What's going on? Ceilings! Annoying! Going to punch the ceiling. Ow! Now there's plaster on my head. Bloody hell!
Gareth Jones on speed.
The problem with being a podcaster is the same as being any sort of non-live broadcaster, is that as soon as we say something, the news probably changes. And we're going to talk about the other teams now. We have to keep checking the computers just in case Kimi Räikkönen has signed. Would you just check just in case he hasn't?
Yeah,
or
because there's been a rumour floating around that there's going to be a Kimi Räikkönen-related announcement this evening as
It
we're
could just
recording.
be Kimi has gone to the pub.
Yeah, Kimi likes vanilla ice cream.
the
Would
least
probably be the
surprising.
statement.
Kimi
Just looking on the
strawberry
tweet
cheesecake.
stream.
On the old Twitter. Shall I just do a search for Kimi Räikkönen? That might be
Kimi.
Let's see what's
I love Kimi.
what's going on.
Number of sources suggesting we could tonight hear an announcement regarding Kimi Räikkönen signing for Lotus brackets currently Renault. That's from an F1. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, why are they announcing? Where are they announcing it? Are they announcing it in Miami or somewhere where it's still daylight? Because it's 10 o'clock at night now, and
No, Kimi's just got up. That's what it is. He's been out on a big bender.
Fair enough. He's just
They're waiting for him to have a bit of a lie-in.
got him sober enough from last night to.
Ooh.
Probably should cut that bit out.
We probably should cut that bit out, but won't. We'll see. Things are changing rapidly. We still don't know who's going to be in the Force Indias, do we, next year? Sutil, Hulkenberg.
Both De Resta and
Or De
Sutil
Resta.
haven't been... We don't know about either of them, really, do they?
Don't know anything. Yeah.
De Resta,
Solid.
what an impressive first season that's been for him. Just absolutely outstanding. Always great to see a British driver coming in and performed at that level. But he's just so mature, so
Are you slightly
so
frightened
smart,
of
really,
him?
sort of, something quite Jackie Stewart-like about his
Scottishness. Hey! Are we supposed to cross fingers?
I hadn't noticed it actually. Funny
say
enough,
jinx.
but he's got that brain work. He's a thinking driver.
I find him a bit scary in the interviews. Really, I kid you not. When he comes to an interview, Lee asks him a question, and he sort of composes himself and gives an answer. And I feel really, what's the word?
Intimidated?
Intimidated by him. I don't know why.
It's obviously he has been ruthlessly media trained. So he pauses and then composes the answer in his head rather than just starting off in a stream of consciousness. But
it's more than media training, though. Much more.
Well, he's obviously just quite savvy. He's taken on board what he's been told, but I always think it makes him sound like a child in a nativity play.
Yeah.
Because he has that sort of slightly hesitant, monotone delivery that you just... So Lee Mackenzie's going, you must be very delighted with your qualifying. Yes, and then the baby Jesus came and said, and to the shepherds who had brought gifts to him. It's just bizarre. His delivery is
He's
strange.
actually a McLaren driver, isn't he? He's got some complicated deal with McLaren.
Really?
And I think being in Force India is a placeholder because, McLaren are consultants for Force India, as well as Virgin now, and as well as... who else they supply stuff to? Someone else. But
he's also managed, of course, by Anthony Hamilton.
Yeah.
Lewis Hamilton's dad.
Yeah.
And Lewis Hamilton was, when he started in F1, clearly very media trained, very good on camera.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know, maybe Anthony Hamilton has a little back room with a video camera set up and he takes him in there whenever there's a fair moment and goes, right, pretend you're saying you're delighted with qualifying 9th. And then Mary said to Joseph, there is no room at the inn, and so on.
I'm with you on that completely. We were talking about Di Resta and the rest.
Yeah, he's good though. I mean, don't get me wrong, great driver, seems like a nice lad, but he's
smart. I think
it'll be
he's,
good when he goes through his Lewis Hamilton wilderness years phase, when he maybe cut loose a little bit and stop talking like he's
wild,
5.
Maybe. Yeah.
Well, he's going to grow a chin strap beard, get 2 earrings, and say blood a bit.
I mean, maybe you'd like to see him, sort of smile a bit more. Maybe you'd like to see him a bit more demonstrative. In his
doesn't move.
Let's do it.
He's very controlled. Yeah,
Do you
very
think
controlled.
Spock
But
is actually a consultant for Anthony Hamilton? He's actually the media training is done by Spock from Star Trek. Hence the no movement on the face thing.
What? Dr. Spock?
Not Doctor.
That's the child
deliberately. You know I said that deliberately because I knew it would wind you up. It's like
the old child care manual gag.
So I meant to say about Hamilton, since we're doing a little roundup of things that have happened in F1, Hamilton and Massa have made up.
Have they?
Yes.
How sweet.
With a hug. They hug.
Really?
Yeah,
genuinely. It was quite sweet. It was
Well,
quite
that's good. It's good because Hamilton's had an interesting season. He's obviously, he's been very obviously so affected by stuff going on in his personal life, and he's been very frustrated, I guess, with
that's the thing, the way
he hasn't understood why he's not as quick as he knows he can be, and we all know he can.
But the best way to release frustration, of course, is to crash into Felipe Massa, or so he thought, several times.
I have a theory about the Hamilton-Massa relationship story arc.
Go on.
Why are these guys hitting each other all the time, crashing into each other? Well, they're occupying the same piece of track. That is, if you do an equation that goes Lewis Hamilton off form in this year's McLaren equals this lap speed and lap position equals Massa, who's also off form since his crash, and because Alonso's now in the team stomping around, making it very difficult for him. Exactly in the same way that... Do you remember... in not Damon's championship year, but the year before he won the championship, 95, Damon was crashing into Schumacher all the time because Damon Hill in a first-class Williams Renault was exactly the same performance piece of track as Schumacher in a slightly illegal Benetton. It was... I mean, they were occupying... they were doing the same lap times, they were qualifying in the same position, they were on the same piece of tarmac all the time. It was inevitable that they're going to hit each other. No other reason than that, in my opinion.
Hamilton's been qualifying better than Massa, though. He's been
qualifying
in the
race, what Gareth's trying to say is they've both become equally crap.
Yeah, true.
And there's something in that. Yeah.
Do you really think Massa's crap? Because you do.
No, do you know what? Well, I said this on Twitter on Sunday after the Brazilian Grand Prix that Felipe Massa is ill-equipped to be a Formula One driver. Now, I do believe that in many ways. A top-flight driver who has to be constantly reminded to drive the car in a certain way is really not meant to be there. But somebody very sniffily pointed out that he almost won the championship in 2008.
He did. He was a champion for about 30 seconds.
Yeah, well, exactly.
Yeah.
Again, with Hamilton, at that point, their not crapness was matching strides.
Yeah.
It was a race for the championship.
But that was 3 years ago. It was,
and I think and he had that accident, and as Gareth said, there's also Alonso being the team now. I just think, psychologically, he's broken, and you can see this in the way that Rob Smedley, his engineer, has to sometimes talk him round. In the Brazilian race, he had to be reminded to step on it a bit, or he was going to be unlapped. Now, I know he brought it home in 5th, which is perfectly respectable, but it's almost like that's as high as he's ever going to go. He is eternally 5th or lower. And I just think, in the way I used to feel about David Coulthard, bless him, that when he was at McLaren, Felipe Massa at Ferrari has become a seat blocker. You know, like in the NHS, you talk about bed blockers, people just in hospital when they're taking up space for legitimately ill people. I think Massa is now taking up a seat at a good team for a legitimately better driver who doesn't need to be nursemaided around.
I think there's going to be something in that, Yeah, but Kubica may not be fit next year. He's not.
Not next year.
Yeah.
But Di Montezemolo has said that Massa was all right for next year, but for 2013, we will see. Although he did not say it in a Westphalian accent. Look at Di Montezemolo. I won't do it.
Gareth Jones on speed. Breaking news as it happens.
And we're just getting reports that Kimi Räikkönen has signed a deal to return to Formula One. We go live now to a press statement from Kimi Räikkönen.
Ladies and gentlemen, Kimi Räikkönen. He says he's delighted to have signed to whichever team this is. Someone needs to get him a vodka right now.
My favourite ice cream is a Magnum.
Something about ice cream? No, sorry, no idea what that was.
He said to me you eat me apple.
Oh no, that's just disgusting.
Gareth Jones on speed! Cars and shouting!
All right, let's just counter very, very quickly through the remaining teams.
I don't think we need to do that.
Really?
I got interested now.
All right then. I will ask one simple question now. Who's going to win the championship next year?
I don't know.
Oh, it's all gone quiet over there.
I'm just going to say Red Bull, they're on a roll.
Yeah.
They've got the momentum now, and even at the end of the season, when their car finally starts going wrong, or the race before, when their top driver starts making... or he didn't make a mistake, did he? The tyre blew. But it's just a bad luck arrived at the right time, or as right a time as it can. But then Mark Webber brings it home. He's ended the season on a bit of a high. It's given him a psychological boost, and the whole team is up.
Yeah, they're on a roll, as you say. Vettel's confidence is going to be an all-time high. He's done it twice in a row.
Why not? A third time hat-trick. It's always neat. Rule of 3, as a lot of people in television say about things variously. But yeah, a quick count through the other teams. Lotus, and Lotus. All good, thanks.
They'll all do well. Caterham, they're coming in. New team next year. Marussia, new team next year.
But never discount McLaren. Never count McLaren out.
OK, can I finish with my McLaren Grand Theory very briefly?
Come on.
The McLaren Grand Theory.
My theory number 1.
Yeah, the Brontosaurus is still at one. No, the McLaren Grand Theory. I tweeted rather gaily the other day that I thought Jenson Button could be world champion next year, because I don't think Lewis is going to make it back, and I think Jenson's got the same kind of momentum, and he's driven so beautifully well. And I thought, oh yeah, McLaren will sort their car out and they'll give them a car to rival Red Bull next year. I don't think they will. I think Adrian Newey's head is too large and too clever. And I think McLaren are the next Williams.
No.
I don't agree. No.
Hang on. Let me explain.
Institutionally organised, it won't happen to them.
They're way too well put together as an organisation, as a team.
Just like Williams, McLaren have lost their free engines. They are not a works team anymore. Just like Williams lost their Renault engines and had to use Mechachrome. And then they got BMW works engines, but lost them and had to pay for Toyota engines. Then they lost the Toyota engine and had to use Cosworth engines. And then the slide started. And once the slide begins, it's very hard to stop the momentum in the opposite direction. Because it's so hard to create the momentum in a positive direction, it's equally as difficult to stem that momentum pulling you towards the back of the grid. And I think unless there's a stroke of absolute revolutionary genius and they find the next Adrian Newey, McLaren could be slipping down the grid next year. I'll leave you with that scary thought.
Well, wait and see. I don't agree, but...
They weathered the Peugeot engines. I think they can weather more. And they just come back. It's the ability to bounce back and to seize those opportunities, and that's what Williams just seems signally unable to do, unless next season these Renault engines work out, and then we'll all be saying, oops, we got that wrong, just like we did this time, sort of last year, we went, oh, Jenson Button McLaren, he's going to be a bit...
McLaren have strength in depth like nobody else.
Wouldn't it be great, though, if this sport that we followed maintained its unpredictable quality? It makes it a lot more interesting. You'll be listening to Richard.
Goodbye.
And Zog.
Goodbye.
And I was Gareth. See ya.
To send us an email, see pictures, get song lyrics, join our Facebook fan site or follow us on Twitter, go to GarethJones.tv. Gareth Jones on Speed is made in London by Whiz Bang.
Gareth Jones on Speed!
Bloody hell!